Casey's letting us use her Zoom account today, but hopefully with the next groups, I'll let you guys know ahead of time so you can plan to hop on. And I'll look into seeing if I can do the monthly fee to record. But just want to thank you guys for hopping on tonight and taking the time out of your evening to kind of join in today. I wanted to talk about a few things before we talk about challenge groups. So the main topic for today is going to be about challenge groups, mainly for the new coaches, just to kind of give them an overview of how we run those and how that works, because I know it can be a little confusing. But I have a few things I wanted to talk about first real quick, so I don't want to take up too much of your time. But for these calls, I think I'm going to try to plan to do them the third Sunday of every month, so that we can plan for the next month. So that'll give us like 2 weeks before the next month starts, where we can kind of come together as a group and brainstorm and kind of get on the same page with what's coming up ahead in the next month, when challenges are going to be coming up, what themes are going to be. That way we're all on the same page. And I was talking to Casey earlier today, and I know we're all in her group this month, but I think starting next month we'll probably just, since our team is expanding, we'll probably just run our own challenge groups for all of us coaches and then all of our challengers. Because we typically like to keep the challenge groups to about 30 people so that it doesn't get too crowded. I know sometimes, it's kind of hard to say because sometimes we have a big group and not a lot of people post, and then other times a lot of people post and it gets kind of hectic. So it's really hard to know how they're going to run, but I think keeping them at 30 people, around 30 people or less, would be the best option. So for us to kind of branch off into our own challenge groups, that would work best, and that's something that Casey had suggested as well. So planning the third Sunday of the month for monthly team calls so that we can kind of brainstorm about the upcoming month, and we can also do like a topic each month, or if a lot of coaches have questions about a specific area, then we can address that, kind of like what we're doing today. We have a specific topic, but, we're just going to go over some basic stuff too. Does that sound okay with you guys? Okay. So I will probably, I posted the next 3 months, the third Sunday of the month, when it would be. But I'll make sure to remind you guys a couple weeks ahead of time, at least, to get it on the calendar so that we can plan to get together. Another thing I wanted to touch base on real quick is about Summit. So Summit is next month. It's July 28th through the 31st. And for the new coaches, I know for me, when I first started, my coach kind of stopped coaching the month after I signed on, so I didn't find out about Summit until later on. So I want to let everyone know, those of you that are new, that Summit is Beachbody's big yearly coach event, and this year they're having it in Nashville again. They had it there last year, and I think there was talk about them signing a 3-year contract, so that means that it might even be in Nashville next year. And I think they typically have them the last weekend in July. So that's coming up the 28th through the 31st. Summer, who is one of our upline coaches, she's running a pre-summit training on Thursday the 28th, so anyone can come to that, even the newer coaches. You don't have to be going to Summit to attend that training. So if you wanted to come to that, just let us know. Just a heads up, typically tickets for next year's Summit will go on sale. I'm trying to remember if it was during the event or right after. I think it was right after, within like a week. And what they do is the first set of tickets that go on sale for next year's Summit is, the price is usually $125. I don't know if it's going to go up, but that's what it was last year. And those, during Summit. Laura said it was during Summit. So the $125 ticket is non-transferable. So that means once you buy that ticket, you can't transfer it to another coach. So if you know 100% that you're going to go to Summit next year without a shadow of a doubt, then go ahead and get that ticket. If not, you can wait till it bumps up to $150. So they have different tiers for the prices, and $150 would be the next spot, and then it just keeps going on or up after that as you wait. But the $150 ticket and beyond, those are transferable. So that means that you can go ahead and lock your ticket and get your ticket at $150. And then if for some reason, last minute you can't go, you can always transfer your ticket to another coach. And honestly, there are always tons of coaches that are waiting for tickets. So don't feel like you might get stuck with paying $150 and then not being able to go and not getting your money back, because there's always a lot of coaches that you'll see them post in different team pages that they need a ticket. So if anything, that's probably what I'll do again, is just wait for the $150 ticket just in case. I like to be safe just in case. And during the Summit event, so those of you that won't be coming, you'll probably see that those of us that are going, we're going to be posting not only on our personal page about what's going on and all the awesome things that are going on, but you'll see coaches posting in the team pages. So all of the updates that happen, you'll see us post about it, so you guys can get updates on what's going on. And then the last night, so let's see, that would be Saturday night, they're going to do, I don't know what it's called. It's just like their finale thing for Summit. It's like a 3-hour event, and they usually televise that on YouTube. So last year I didn't go to Summit, but I logged into the YouTube channel that they posted, and I watched it live, and it was pretty awesome. So those of you that can't come, just maybe mark on your calendar that Saturday night to block off some time, and you can watch the closing ceremony live with us. So that's a little snippet about Summit. Just wanted to give you guys a heads up so you know about that for not only this year, but next year, to be thinking about that. And then the last thing I want to talk about before we go into challenge groups is Super Saturday. So another thing that Beachbody hosts for their coaches in terms of trainings and get-togethers, Summit is the biggest one that they do once a year. Super Saturdays are held quarterly, and the next Super Saturday is August 6th. And I'm going to post a link to that you can go to see where the nearest one would be for you. I checked before I hopped on here tonight, and so far in North Carolina, there's only 2 that are scheduled. I think one's in Charlotte and one's in Raleigh. So those are big Super Saturdays, and they usually have them, they host them or plan for them right away. But as we get closer to August 6th, you'll notice that if you keep checking on that site, other locations will pop up. So you want to check on there. You can put your zip code in there, and you can find which events are going to be closest to you. I know for us here in like the New Bern area, Eastern North Carolina, the last Super Saturday was in New Bern, and it was really small. So Beachbody has like this 45-minute presentation that they send out to people that host Super Saturdays, and they pretty much just did that. So it wasn't really a big deal, but if you're able to get to one that's a little bit bigger, then you'll probably get more out of it, because they usually have top coaches at those. I know in Raleigh, the last Super Saturday, they had Megan E. Walson was there, and she was like one of the top 10 coaches in Beachbody. So I really hate that I missed seeing her there, but I had a 2-month-old, so I went local. But that's something just to go ahead and mark your calendars on and try to make it to one if you can, because anytime you can plug into these different trainings and get-togethers, whether it's retreats or summits or Super Saturdays, it's really helpful. Oh, and I forgot to mention, I know I posted in my team page about for our local coaches having either monthly or every other month get-togethers. So those of you that are local, if you're interested in doing that, let me know. We can, it doesn't have to be a whole day event, but even just to get together for lunch or dinner or bowling or manicures or something like that, just to kind of get together and spend time with one another. I know a lot of coaches have their downline where they're just kind of spread out all over the place and they're not local. So I feel like us being so close together, the majority of us do live close by. I feel like we should take advantage of that while we all still live near each other. I will probably post about that. We probably won't do one in July or August because July is Summit, August is Super Saturday, so maybe more in the fall we can plan to do something. So be on the lookout for that. Does anyone have questions so far? Anyone have a question? No? Okay, so I wanted to get through that stuff real quick just because I think these Zoom calls are timed. I'm not sure if we have an hour, but I wanted to make sure that we have enough time to go over the challenge group stuff and address questions. So you guys can ask questions about either the challenge groups, or I know we just did the new coach training and Dana had some questions in there, so we can address those if we have time as well for the other coaches that aren't here. But basically, we run challenge groups as coaches. That's like one of the biggest things that we do, the biggest support piece that we do as a coach. So as a coach, we run our business basically on our personal page on Facebook. So people kind of follow you and see your journey and see what you're doing and get interested in what you're doing through your personal page. And I know you may have noticed, a lot of you new coaches may have noticed, some of us who have been doing this for a little while, that we tend to post about challenges on our Facebook page, whether it's just talking about how the challenge groups are helping us, or, you know, hey, I found this recipe from someone in my challenge group today, or, you know, little things like that. That's kind of how we present challenge groups to the public, or basically to, you know, the people that are on your friends list. But we also run specific posts about our challenge groups. I know I did a video on it this week. I know Laura and Jenna did just a post about it this week. So you can type those up and, you know, put a picture of yourself or something related to the challenges and kind of make it personal, how they've helped you, or if you haven't done a challenge group, you know, if you like the products or Shakeology, you know, kind of talking about that a little bit. But that's basically where it kind of starts, with getting people interested in our challenge groups. And oftentimes with those posts, we will type up, you know, comment below or message me for more details. And that's how people kind of get interested or maybe contact us about the challenge groups. Now, another way we can reach out to people for challenge groups is by messaging them. And a lot of you are using TeamZ. That's a program that where you can kind of pull in all of your contacts, you know, friends from your Facebook page, or people that are not on Facebook that you know. Maybe you have them logged in your phone or that sort of thing. It helps us to keep track of following up with those people and contacting those people. So whatever method you use, and we can talk about that more on a different call, but you basically want to reach out to people. You know, we usually suggest that you start with your hot market. So that's your list of people who know you, who you know, you have a good relationship with already. So think about maybe good friends and family members. If you know any of those kind of individuals who might benefit from joining one of our challenge groups, then those would be good people to start kind of reaching out to and saying, hey, you know, I'm doing this. Just wanted to see if you know, wanted to join me, or, you know, I noticed that you posted about struggling with healthy eating or exercising, and this is something that's really helped me. Would you be interested in joining me? You know, that sort of thing. So that's how people find out about our challenge groups, mainly, number one, through our Facebook page, through our posts, and then number two, through us inviting people. Now, traditionally with our challenge groups, what we've done in the past is we would do a free clean eating challenge the first Monday of the month, and that would normally last about 5 to 7 days. And basically, in that first week, that free clean eating week, it's just a basic group. People would get like a meal plan. that we would upload into the group. So all of our groups are private. Only the people that are in the group see what's being posted. So, you don't have to worry about posting something and all your friends on Facebook seeing it. It's completely private. I forgot what I was saying. Challenge groups. What was I saying? Oh, the free clean eating challenge. So it's just a very basic and general group. So we post something every day of the week, and the posts that we have, they're already put together. So as coaches, we don't really have to worry about coming up with new content. We can if we want to. I know when Jennifer started coaching with me, we came up with a few new groups to run and with new content and new posts, just to kind of change things up a little. But we have posts and schedules already put together. So when you come in and sign on as a new coach, you don't really have to develop anything. Everything's pretty much already done for us. We just have to follow along with what's been done in the past. So that makes it really easy. So basically what we do when we run our free clean eating challenge is there's one coach that usually opens up the group, and then they invite the rest of the coaches. So for example, for the free clean eating challenge that we have coming up, if Jenna was going to open that group up, she would be like the main person. Facebook would designate her as an admin. And then she would add in the rest of us if we all wanted to participate. And then once we are in the group, we can add our challengers in. So if you have a list of, 2 or 3 people that said, yeah, I'd love to join you, then once Jenna would add you, then you can go ahead and add those people. And so that's how it kind of starts, is we set up the group, we're added to it, we add our challengers, and then we follow the post schedule. So oftentimes we will do like a group message with all the coaches, and everyone will sign up for a day to post, and it's basically just copy and paste. Now if you have a topic that you want to do something different with, like ditch the scale or healthy eating on the weekends, if you don't really want to follow what the post schedule that we have already done, then you can certainly just come up with your own post, and that's perfectly fine. You don't have to follow the mold. You don't have to follow a specific pattern. Those are just guides to help us. And so every day, one of us would post something just to kind of help give some good information for them, some guidance on healthy eating and exercising and some encouragement, things like that. And then at night, we typically encourage our challengers to post their food logs, and we do the same thing. So we'll post, breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, if we worked out, if we didn't, if we're struggling with something, we encourage people to post that. And that's the basic pattern of all of our challenge groups. The only difference is when they're run and what the theme is. So traditionally the first week, the first Monday of every month would be the free clean eating challenge. Then the second week is usually our Shakeology challenge. So it's usually a 5-day group. There are some coaches that run it as a 10-day group. It just depends, but it's typically 5 days. And for that second week, the Shakeology group, that's mainly for people who are interested in Shakeology, who want to learn more about it and want to sample it. So a lot of people don't want to invest in a big bag of Shakeology and then, well, what if I don't like it? What if it doesn't agree with me? What if I don't like the flavor? So we offer this Shakeology group for people to be able to get sample packets and try it out for 5 days and see how they do. So we kind of continue on with what we've been doing with the free clean eating challenge. We offer even more support. Sometimes during the Shakeology challenge, we'll include like a little workout routine each day. So we're just building on those habits. And then we're encouraging them to replace one meal a day with Shakeology. And those packets, your challengers can either get them from you. So as a coach, if you wanted to order an extra box of packets to have available for your challengers, you could do that. Some of us have extra Shakeology, so some coaches have asked me to just send their challenger the packets, and then they just get the money to me to pay for them. So that's an option. And then also in your back office, if you have people create an account with you as their coach in Team Beachbody, they can actually log in and order a sampler packet, a sampler box of Shakeology. The only thing with that is you can't really customize it. So if someone gets packets from me, I have several packets for each flavor, and they can do all greenberry, they can do greenberry and chocolate, they can do whatever they want, mix and match. With the option through your online office, the sampler packet, they only get one sample of each flavor. So if they're okay with that, then they can do that option as well. It tends to be a little bit more expensive doing it that way because I can't remember the last time I logged in. It may be like $45 for 7 packets. I don't know if any of you have looked at that in a while, but I normally just send people packets from my stash. And I usually sell them $5 a packet. So for the 5 days of Shakeology, for that week, it's normally $25. Sometimes for my local people, I'll just do it for $4 a packet, so 5 packets for $20, since I don't have to ship it. Sometimes I'll do that, but that's typically what we would do for the Shakeology challenge. And then, so that's the second Monday of the month. Then we have a break the third week of the month, and then the fourth week of the month is when we start the 30-day group. Now, the third week of the month, we typically will open our 30-day group and do some prep work. So we'll post just a lot of stuff for people to get ready for the challenge. So we don't want to just throw them in the challenge and then they're like, well, what do I do? How do I get ready for it? So we open up the group a whole week beforehand to allow them a whole week to, clean out their cupboards and get a meal plan going and, work with them with grocery shopping and that sort of thing. Make sure that their program gets in on time. Now with the new Beachbody On Demand, that kind of helps with that. When I first started coaching, we didn't have Beachbody On Demand, and so people would have to wait 5 to 7 days to get their program. So we kind of had a cutoff date as to when we wanted people to order by. But now, someone can order the day that the challenge starts, and within 24 hours, they'll have access to their workouts. They won't get their Shakeology until a little bit later, but they can go ahead and start working out. So with inviting to the 30-day group or even for the Shakeology group, because there's kind of a deadline, you want to make sure you're inviting ahead of time. So you always want to be thinking ahead, and that's why hopefully these monthly calls, when we kind of plan out when we're having groups and what we're going to be doing with them, hopefully that'll get us all kind of in that mindset of, okay, well, we need to start inviting early so that people get their Shakeology packets in a decent amount of time, to be able to join us for that week. And same with the 30-day group. You guys have any questions so far? Or Laura, Jenna, do you guys want to add anything so far? So that's the traditional schedule that we used to do. Lately, a lot of the top coaches have been encouraging us not to do as many of the free groups, and I know both Jenna and Laura can attest to the fact that we have a lot of people that will do only free groups, and they never ever want to do the Shakeology group or the 30-day group. So they're kind of like, well, why should I pay to do those when I could just do these free ones all the time? So we're this is the first or second month where we didn't really run a free clean eating challenge. Did you have a question, Laura? First month. Oh, this is the first month. Okay. So it's something that we're just kind of testing out. So with this new method, we're not really offering a free group as often, and what we're actually doing is we're combining the 5-day Shakeology challenge with the 30-day group. So, like for example, we have a 30-day group that started today, and so this first week is technically our Shakeology group, what we would normally have run the second Monday of the month, but we're moving it grouping it into the 30-day group. And the reasoning for that is it's kind of giving people a taste of what our bigger groups are about. And, we're hoping that they'll love the momentum of the group and love what the Shakeology is doing for them and say, yeah, I really would like to continue on and do the full 30 days with you guys. And so then, we'll talk about programs and things like that with those individuals. So that's something that we'll have to decide as a team what we want to do, if we want to do free groups every month. I know we have a lot of new coaches on our team, so I feel like we need to do them a little bit more often than never. So maybe even doing them every other month or every 3 months. That would be an option. We also tend to do recipe swap groups. We've done a few of those in the past. So we could do like a free group 1 month and a recipe swap group another month and kind of rotate between those. So that could be an option as well. With our recipe swap groups, those are free as well. And basically, there's no posting. It's just us sharing recipes. So we might have, like last year, we did a 4th of July recipe swap. And so all we did was add people who wanted in, and everyone shared recipes. So people just get tons of ideas and tons of new recipes. So it's a nice little service that we can do, but it's not providing a whole lot of time on our part to run those. So that's an option that we can do. Now, we do have special free groups that we host throughout the month or throughout the year. So, for example, in November, we do a Planksgiving kind of, not Planksgiving, that's the Shakeology one. We do like a Grateful for Grub group. So that's our free clean eating group. It has a theme to it. Then in December, starting on December 1st, I think that's when we started it last year, we do the 12 days of Christmas, 12 days of Fitmas. So that's another free group that we offer, and it's 12 days long. And then in February, we do Live Like You Love Yourself. And I think that was 14 days as well. February 1st through the 14th, we do a free group. So we do have a few of those like theme-based free groups, and we can still run those like we normally do, and then maybe just sprinkle in some free groups, throughout the year, maybe just not back to back. So during the holidays, we have plenty. From November till February, we have quite a bit of free stuff. Then we could take a break and maybe do 1 or 2, like one in the summer and one in the fall type thing. So we could do it that way. But honestly, this is your business for you to run however you want. And if you feel compelled to do a free group, then go ahead and do it. There's no one here telling you can't do that. This is just, kind of a routine that we have been doing and, something that we're starting out doing. So, if you want to run with something, if you have a new idea for a group, go ahead and do it. And maybe let us know if you want us to help you out with it. We can certainly help you out in whatever way that you need us to. Let me look over here and see if we have any questions. How many challengers do most coaches invite per group? It really just depends on the coach. That's going to depend on your list, your hot market, your warm market. How many people do you feel comfortable reaching out to? In this type of business, honestly, the more people you reach out to, the further you're going to get faster. So if I decide that I'm just going to invite 1 or 2 people a month, whereas Laura's going to invite 50 people a month, she's probably going to get more momentum going than I am. Because something you have to consider is that not everyone's going to be, up for doing, the challenges. So they might say no. So if I only invite 2 people and they both say no, well then, I'm not really going to get very far. Whereas if Laura's inviting 50, she might get half of them no, and half of them yes. Then she's got 25 people. So you can, Jenna already answered that, sorry. Yep, as many as you want. The more the better. But again, that'll probably depend on your hot market. So like I said, we We usually start with our hot market people that we feel comfortable with. And you can kind of do like a cold invite is what it's called, where, you might reach out to someone that you haven't talked to in a while. Sometimes that goes over well, sometimes that doesn't, but we usually suggest that you try to start forming those people first. So building a relationship, getting to know more about them, getting to know about what their needs are, what areas they're struggling with, what areas can we help them with. So that's what these challenge groups really boil down to, is how can we help others? How can we serve others? How can what we're offering help these people? And so you need to have a conversation with them and get to know them before you can really find that out sometimes. For some people, it's going to be easier to figure out, and for some people, you need to do more conversating, and that might take a while. It might take months for you to figure that out. Try not to rush anything, just get to know people, and like I said, try to spot that need and see if there's something that we can do to help them with that. And know that people are going to say no, not right now. And that's okay. Maybe it's just not a good time for them. That doesn't mean never. No doesn't mean never. It just means not right now. Okay, so if someone says no, or if you're getting a lot of no's, just know that you've planted the seed. You've got them kind of thinking about what we're doing, and later on down the road, if you're consistent with them and still building relationships with them, when they get to that point in their life where they're ready to make a change, they're probably going to come to you because you've been by their side, even though they said no. You weren't just like, oh, well, I'm just going to write her off my list and see her later. You still want to keep up with people, because you never know when they're going to be ready. Let's see. Every few days, yep. So Laura was answering some of the questions. How do I manage the challengers once they're in a group? So normally what I do with a free group, it's more general. So I try to talk to them beforehand, and maybe have them pick out a few goals that they want to work on that week, see what area do they struggle with most. Is it fitness? Is it nutrition? Is it both? And just kind of have them verbalize what their goals are for that week, and just support them throughout the week. As they progress to the Shakeology group or the 30-day challenge, you're investing more time. So because those individuals invested in Shakeology for 5 days, because they invested in a program and a challenge pack to do the 30-day group, you're going to invest more time of yourself. So with my 30-day group people, I like to message them ahead of time if I can. If they're getting added in early on, I like to again figure out what their needs are, what their goals are, what do they want to focus on, what's their biggest goal that they want to achieve down the road, and then what small goals do we need to set in order for them to get to that big goal. I try to do meal planning with people. I think that helps a lot. We have basic generic meal plans, but I know that most people are going to follow something that they like, a meal plan that has foods on there that they know what they are, and it's not like off the wall kind of things. So this is what I do, and you can do it differently, but I usually have people message me what they typically eat, a list of things for breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, and then, keeping in mind what they want to work on and work towards, we kind of cater their meal plan towards that. So I might put together a quick meal plan or make general suggestions as to how we can tweak some of their meals, or, that sort of thing. Put together a meal plan for them that includes foods that they like, but also maybe trying out some new things as well. And then I just touch base with people as needed. It really depends on the person. So I have some challengers who don't really contact me that much throughout the 30 days, or I might message them and, it takes them forever to message me back. Then I have other challengers who are like texting me every 5 minutes or every day. Some post in the groups, some don't. The ones that don't, sometimes they'll contact me one-on-one, so they would prefer to post their food diaries just sending it to me versus posting it in the group, and that's fine, whatever works for them. But how often you check in with them is really going to depend on that person. Like I said, because some people want like that constant support, and then other people don't. And sometimes that's something that I ask them before the challenge starts. I let them know, I'm here as your coach to help you in any way that you want to. How would you like for me to contact you? Either Facebook messaging, would you like me to text you? Does emailing work better? So I kind of get that out of the way and figure that out first, because if someone is rarely on Facebook Messenger and they're always on their computer with their email open, they might prefer to have contact through email. And so it would be pointless for me to send them a text message or send them a Facebook message when, they do better with emailing. So I try to find that out first. And then I ask them, how often would you like for me to be in contact with you? Some of my challengers like more one-on-ones, more often support, and then other people, kind of want their space, or I'll wait for you to contact me. There's a bunch of different ways that you can do it, but I try to see what's going to fit their needs first, if that makes sense. What do they want? And then that's what I do. Let's see. Jenna says that there's fingernail polish everywhere. Uh-oh. Let's see. So Dana is saying, I would like to post about the challenge on my personal page, but I don't want to get overwhelmed. So you don't want to get overwhelmed with like the response from people? You can unmute yourself if you want to and ask. Yes, so you don't want to get overwhelmed with the amount of people that you take on. Is that right? Okay. So sometimes with our free groups, because we're not doing as much like intense one-on-one support with them, it's just kind of, casual, basic, because it's a free group. I tend to have more people in free groups, and then with our challenge groups, I haven't seen too many coaches that have like 10 or more, which, there are coaches that do that, but we don't tend to do that. What you can do is you can kind of decide on your own, okay, I only want to help 3 people this month, or I only want to do 5 people, no more than 5 people. So when you post about a challenge group, a 30-day challenge group on your page, you can say, I'm looking for 5 people, or I only have 5 spots available. And then once you have those 5 spots filled, then if more people message you, then that's up to you if you feel comfortable adding more people on, or if you might want to say, I've kind of, because I want to help serve my challengers best, I don't want to take on too many challengers where, I might be spreading myself thin and not providing the type of support that I know you need. So I'm only taking this amount of people, and then anyone over your limit, you might can say, we have some challenges coming up in between these 30-day groups. How about we plug you in with those, and then we can jump in, plug you into the next 30-day group once it starts. So that might be a way to approach that. Does that help? Does that sound okay?
Yeah. So I have one that I invited. She is currently doing, she's getting ready to finish up size, and she's going to start, I think she said T25. I don't know if she does Shakeology. Mm-hmm. So there, could be an opportunity there. But she, she's very, and I think she even has the potential to be a good coach. She's on Facebook a lot. Mm-hmm. She has 2 little boys, and, she's into like the superhero theme. Yeah. So I eventually and I talked to her today, and I asked her about the group, and she said, I'm up for anything. So she kind of reminds me of myself.
Yeah.
So that's where she's at right now. So I asked her, I sent the invite today, she said, she's in. So, I told her I would give her more information, and I was planning on doing that tonight. But I've been prepping and cooking, and I had to get my workout in, so I haven't had a chance to reach back out. But that's where I'm at with her right now.
Okay. Well, that's good. And, you don't want to feel like you have to respond to people right away, because you want people to know that you're human and you have a life and you have family. So I think when people see us like responding right away, then they feel like we're consumed in Beachbody. And so if this is someone who might be a potential coach, you don't want to convey that to her, that, oh, well, she's like, always, I have to always be available. So if you have a lot going on, you can, just send her a message saying, I have a few things that I'm doing tonight. If I don't get to it tonight, I'll be sure to message you either first thing in the morning or by the end of the day tomorrow. And that way she knows that you are going to follow up with her. But that's great. If she mentioned that she's kind of all in, then you can start chatting to her about what the challenge group is about, maybe letting her know that we've actually already opened up the group and we're doing some prep work never mind. We've already started the group. If this was last week, you could have told her, we've opened up the group and started some prep work and that sort of thing. But, people can join into our 30-day groups at any time. We have some people that join in after a few weeks or during the last week. If someone happens to order later on in the month after the challenge has already started, you don't have to wait for the next one to actually start. You can plug them in and then say, well, this, we're kind of at the end of our group. I'm going to go ahead and plug you in and we can start get the ball rolling and get you that support that you need. And then as soon as my next group opens up with the prep work, we'll, switch you into that one. So I would just maybe message her more and find out, what program she would want to use, if she wants a new one, if she wants to continue with what she has, how her nutrition is. So a lot of people get scared about the Shakeology part. So if you're avid working out person, then you can talk about working out all day. But then when it comes to nutrition, some people kind of step back. So to kind of ease into that conversation, you can start asking her how her nutrition is. What does she struggle with? And then spotting that need to see, is there a need there that Shakeology can fill? Does she skip meals? Well, maybe she can, try the shakes to replace the meal that, she's missing out on. Does she struggle with, sweets and junk food and cravings? Well, maybe that's an area where Shakeology could help out with. And you could always tell her, I'll add you into the group, and if you want to do 5 days of Shakeology to give it a shot and see, if it's something that you like and we can chat more about it, then you can take that approach as well and just get packets to her to try out. And then if she likes it, she can continue on. Ideally, what most coaches do for the 30-day group is a requirement is that the challengers purchase a challenge pack. And the reasoning for that is because, again, we're investing 30 days with this person. And we know that when someone has a workout with Shakeology and the support of the group, the support of us, they do really well and they see results. So if a piece of that puzzle is missing, they might not get the results that they need. And they might get discouraged and say, well, this is not for me, so I'm just not going to continue. So if you ever listen to the Tuesday team calls from Summer, she oftentimes talks about the recipe. If people do the workouts, if they drink their shakes, if they plug into the groups, they're going to see results more than likely. But once they leave a piece of that out, the results don't usually happen. And I've seen that with a lot of my challengers. Maybe they'll buy a challenge pack and they don't drink their Shakeology every day, or they don't check into the challenge groups. And they don't get the results that they want, and then they get discouraged and they stop. Well, that's part of our recipe. That's part of, if you want to see the results, you have to do these things. We know that when you do the workouts, when you drink the shake, when you plug into the groups, when you check in with your coach, you're going to do well. So yeah. Any other questions about challenge groups? Laura, do you think that I kind of covered everything okay for new coaches?
Yeah. I had to hop off. My in-laws' internet's not that great. But yeah, I think you did the most important part, I think, for me when I started was getting comfortable with the free groups first. Only because that helped you, number one, learn to invite without being so scared that everybody's going to say no because it was free. But that still took a lot of courage for me to do that. But and then just running the free groups, finally, when I did it on my own after being in them for so long, and in the other groups that we did, because I just joined all of them just for the experience and for the accountability. But it helped me to be able to run one without having the fear that I'm going to mess it up. Like, like you said, everything is there. But if you don't want to use everything that's there, you can make up your own and pick your own topic for the day and split it up with other people, or just post it all yourself.
Right.
And so I think the progression through learning through the different groups helped me a lot in starting to run my own. I have so much more confidence even just today, number one, using Teensy to invite people, because it's bringing people up that I had forgot about. That I can invite a little bit more of a, it's not like just a hey out of the blue invite, but it's, somebody that I've checked on their page. I like their stuff all the time and they're popping up this and that, but I don't ever think of them as saying, hey, have you ever thought about just joining me in this? And that's how I got my first 2 challengers last month. A friend of mine just popped up and commented on a post that I had made on it might have been a call to action, but it might have just been a progressive post. But, I was able to have the confidence to reach out to her and somebody else. And but I think getting accustomed to, if you're a new coach, getting used to the free groups. And that's why I don't think we should stop doing them completely. I think I like the alternating between the recipe and the free, or, crock pot cooking in the wintertime or something, because it gives the new coaches, gets them accustomed to posting, gets them accustomed to being in the groups. And the groups are just where it's at. And it's really hard to convince yourself, because it was for me, that people have to buy something in order to join the longer groups.
Yeah.
But like you said, they get more of us, and they get more support and more accountability, and then they can continue on with us. I don't think many people realize that you can continue to offer them into a group because they have already reached out and made that decision for themselves with purchasing. And so, in this next group, the one that started today, I have all my people are repeats. But the 2 new ones really didn't focus on doing their programs this past month. So I said, well, here, you got a brand new start, start over fresh. Let's get it going with this next one, And so, that's where it's at. And it's really hard to remember that. But for me, that's where it's been.
Yeah. And so Laura brought up a lot of good points. So people that comment or like your posts about health and fitness, those are good people to reach out to, because, if they're liking what they're seeing with your working out and eating healthy, then that means that they're interested. So those would be good people to reach out to.
And I've experienced that just recently. It's been 4 years since I lived in Kentucky, and I haven't seen this lady in 4 years. And I worked with her daughter, and she commented on a post, and I'm like, I'm getting a vibe from her. So I reached out to her, and she said it's so funny because I've been thinking about you.
Yeah. See, that's good.
It works in mysterious ways, but it's cool.
Those are the perfect people to reach out to if you're not sure. Scroll back through your posts and see because you'll see people, those names pop up often.
Mhm.
Another thing that she mentioned about getting comfortable with challenge groups, a lot of the top coaches I've heard on National Wake Up Calls, they'll have their new coaches shadow them for a month. So for the first month that you're a coach, you kind of join the challenge groups as like a challenger and kind of get a feel for how the challenge is run. And then the second month that you're a coach, you help lead the challenge group with your coach. So you take on some of the responsibility of posting and that sort of thing. And then by the third month of you being a coach, they kind of send you off to do your own challenge group. So maybe you lead it and maybe your coach kind of helps you along the way. So I thought that was a good approach. It's not really pushing people into challenge groups and saying, this is what you have to do, go and do it. You're number one, having the first month having them shadow you to learn about it. The second month, you're getting their feet wet and helping you run the group. And then the third month, you're kind of doing it on your own. So that might be a good approach for some of us who have new coaches, to do it that way. And then another thing Laura pointed out was that once people invest in a challenge pack, like she said, sometimes they think that they only get that month, but usually with our challenge pack purchasers, they can do all of our groups. And that's something that we tell them, is that once you get a challenge pack, I'm your coach and you're in this for life, unless you want to leave. They can do as many groups as they want. They don't have to purchase a new challenge pack every month or every so many months. So they can do it continuously, and that's what we want them to do, because then those people turn into coaches. That's what we do. Basically, that's what a coach does. We do our challenges every month, and the only difference is we're just offering support to others, and we're posting in the group.
Yeah, and I think what's helping me with this invite is she's already doing the workout, and I don't want that pressure of having to ask her to purchase a challenge pack.
Yeah.
So just kind of giving me, like you said, getting my feet wet and being able to apply what Laura has modeled for me.
Right.
Our group together. So just, kind of apply what I already know, and then just build on that, because, it's they're and it's great because there's so much information out there, and I'm trying to read it all and I'm trying to learn it all. And it's just, wrapping my head around it and just seeing it work. I mean, I've already seen it work because I've been through these with Laura, but it's nerves.
It's a long process. And I remember when I first started, I would spend like hours on YouTube, like just searching other coaches and their videos, and one thing would lead to another thing, and I would just be like, all this stuff going on and all this stuff to learn, but you'll catch on, it'll all come around. But that's an emerald thing. We do a lot of research and learning. But that's also what we're here for. So anytime you have a question, that's what our team page is for. Always, post in the team page, because there's probably other new coaches that have the same question or they're wondering about the same thing. So utilize that, and we can certainly do more of these calls if you guys want to do them more often. Because sometimes it's good to talk things out and ask questions and get a response right away versus trying to have to figure out through typing. I like just.
That's totally me. I like to discuss stuff. I've got to talk about it. I got to do it, and I got to talk about it.
Right. And so even with your challengers, that's a really good thing. If you have challengers that you're comfortable with getting on the phone with or setting up these Zoom calls, you can set up a Zoom account for yourself, and they're free. The ones that you can't record are free. Or Skyping or FaceTiming. Anytime you can talk to your challengers in person, even for their support piece. Like I got on a Zoom chat with a challenger last month, and we just did this. We talked to each other like this and talked about her goals. And, sometimes that's a lot easier than having to message back and forth, and that takes forever, I feel like. Or even if you have someone who might be a great coach, get on the phone with them. If they live near you, set up a coffee date, something like that. Anytime you can talk to them and you can really communicate with that person, but also you guys can exchange, emotion, and they can really feel your heart that way, that you're not trying to like sell them on something. You're just genuinely interested and wanting to help them. So now, Dana, did you have any questions with regards to the new coach training that we did? Anything from that part?
I don't think so. I tried to ask questions as I went along. And honestly, I have to repeat and repeat.
Okay.
You learn, you learn things by, seeing it, reading it, doing it. So, and I'm one of those, I have to repeat. So more than likely I will go back, and because I made a Word document of each of the days, and that's in a folder.
Take notes.
Yeah. So yeah, more than likely I will go back. And like I said, I've tried to ask questions as I went along.
Yeah.
But I'm sure, every time you look at it,
right, new stuff pops up.
Yeah.
So we'll actually keep that group open. I know Jenna just recently signed on a new coach, and she joined us after we had started that group. So I added her into there today. So we'll probably keep that group open for a long time. And so you'll have plenty of access to it and plenty of time to go back and re-listen and re-look at things. Summer also put together a Like a Boss training. So I might wait a week and then we can maybe start that up in the same group that we have set up, and we can do that together. But one thing I would suggest to new coaches, if you don't know where to start with Tuesday's team calls. So Casey Wallace, she is not my coach, but my coach's coach. But basically my coach doesn't do anything, so Casey's my coach. She's my adopted coach. She just recently started hosting her team calls on Tuesdays at 8:15, and then Summer Tucker, who is Casey's coach, she's like, coach guru. She's awesome and does really awesome team calls. She hosts her team calls on Tuesdays at 9:00. So, I told my husband, I said, Tuesdays are my team nights. And he knows that, that's something that you want to, if you want to attend those, make sure your family knows that that's when the team calls are. They're usually always recorded. So you have access to the past calls. If you can't hop on live, you can always access them later. But if you don't know where to start, that would be a great place to start, because she rotates through different topics each week. She has guest speakers, different coaches come on and share part of their story. And I feel like I've really learned a lot from those team calls and from those other coaches, and the National Wake Up Call, that's every Monday at 11, and those are recorded as well. So those would be some good places to get started. And then, take notes. Like Dana, you are good at taking notes. So anytime you have a question, write it down, and then that way you could either ask in the team page, if it's from the team call from the other coaches, just type it up into our team page, and one of us will respond to it. But I think that would be a good place to start. And if you need resources, Summer's everythingwithheart.com, that's a great training toolbox. And I'll type all this up and have access to it in our team page, so you guys have access to the links and the passwords and all that, just in case. But I think that's pretty much it for right now. I know Jess had asked some questions about the team calls. So running groups, our groups are run monthly. So I touched base on that. I wrote down her questions. Inviting, how soon should you invite? I think I kind of touched base on that, maybe like a week or two before. It really depends on what group you're going to invite to. Like, for example, the free clean eating or recipe swap, you can invite like the day of that it starts, because it doesn't really matter. But the Shakeology group and the 30-day group, you probably want to think ahead. So if you have a planner, maybe mark your planner at least a week beforehand to do the invite, and that way you have time. that way you have time to chat with that person about it, and then also to get their packets or their challenge pack ordered. And then you can talk about the groups by breadcrumbing it on your personal page. So, even after the group has started, just throughout the month, try to have some posts, once or twice a week that kind of allude to our challenge groups. Maybe how they're helping you, or how they're, if you have a challenger that's doing really awesome, you can shout them out on your page, or even without saying their name, you can say, I have a challenger who's doing really well. They've lost 2 pounds, whatever. They're more confident. Little things like that. You can we call that breadcrumbing. You're just kind of giving bits and pieces of our groups without it being like, hey, I have a challenge group, come join me type thing. So those were some questions that Jess had, and hopefully that answers that okay. Yes, Laura, I can put that information in the pinned post. So for those of you who don't know, in my team page, and I've included this in Casey's team page as well, there's a pinned post at the top of the page. So if you're on your desktop or your phone, there should be like a little bar that says pinned post, and you can click on that. And I try to include a lot of good info in there. So the link to team calls is in there. The link to the Like a Boss training is in there, and just some other important things. So I try to add to that as much as I can, so that you guys have like one place to go to find some information. Another thing, if you're not sure about something, is in our back office, you can click on the FAQ button and you can type stuff up in there. So if you have questions about a program, about Shakeology, about anything like that, usually you can type it in the FAQ and something will pop up. And I'll probably do another webinar on our back office, just to kind of get the newer coaches familiar with what's back there and what to look at, because that's important to know how to navigate and what to look at back there. But I think for today we covered a lot. It's a little past 10, so I don't want to keep you guys on too much longer. So hopefully I addressed some of your questions and concerns, but if anything else pops up, just let me know. I can always go live in our Facebook page and you guys can ask questions as I answer them, or if one of the other coaches want to do that, that's totally fine. Does anyone else have any questions before we pop off? We're good? All right, well, thanks for joining me tonight. And I will get in touch with Casey about figuring out how to post this recording in our team page. And like I said, anytime you have questions, just post it in the team page or private message me or any of the other coaches. And just thanks for hopping on tonight and taking the time out of your day. Hope you guys have a good night. Bye.